Dan was casually chatting with me, and he said, we have Hogan data. I'm like, who doesn't? But then we correlated with our engagement survey. I said, nobody done it, that, as far as I know. So I couldn't resist having wonderful speakers join us today about correlating Hogan data with engagement survey and maybe something more shenanigans.
Yeah, maybe some more shenanigans.
Yes. What is it, Georgi? Give you the microphone. Last time that happened at SIOP, it did not end well.
So while they set up, I wanted to add to Renee's question and Kate. There is another aspect I discovered recently, and I don't want to ruin the pleasure. I mean, I don't know how many of you go to SIO, but it's hopefully going to be one of my presentations next year. Um, we assume that people will be talking with the chatbot and giving it enough information, but some people just don't want to talk about themselves. So I did this study where you stack questions. So, okay, you want to find out their conscientiousness. How many questions you need to ask them to increase the correlation between their Hogan prudence score and what the AI scores them as conscientiousness? And the answer is the more you, actually the more you ask, the better it becomes. But it's tapers off. But interestingly, for interpersonal sensitivity, the more questions you ask, the less accurate AI becomes. So it is multifaceted, and it's the same thing as faking. People think they can catch faking, but it's so multidimensional. Depends on the context, depends on the trait, depends on the person, and the pattern is lost. And I think I kind of side with Renee, because at the end of the day, you'd prefer standard questions to everyone answer, and the classic test theory where the error is washed away because it's standard distributed random standard distribution, so you can remove it. But when everyone gets a tailored assessment with tailored questions, then the error becomes unmanageable. And it's not the model might look face valid. I mean, the questions look face valid, everything looks face valid, but it's not predictive anymore. That's I think the issue. Nikita? No.
Tell us more. We both know you want to.
No, no,
But never
no.
4 out of 5 on a confidence scale, would you?
I need to be humble before noon.
We love each other, really. Yeah, perfect. Oh, well, feedback. Just sound mute. Boop. Oh, does this work? Oh, all right, all right, all right. Okay. Oh, you're muted. Oh, it was probably D'Artagnan close by with his laptop. Yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so wait 1 second. Yep. Okay, should be fine now. All right, can everybody hear us okay?
Yeah.
Feedback from, oh, this is a cheeky culprit.
Sound has gone, I think, if you can hear us. Online, I can't hear anything.
Unmute. Yeah, should be fine now.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Dan.
The mics, you'll need to share. I'm
Okay.
afraid.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect.
Oh, there's still a bit of an echo. Where's that coming from?
Let's check. Can echo?
Is your
Okay.
volume?
It's really a taste of special and critical reasoning. Muted. This needs to be muted. Is your phone on? Jeez Louise.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
Go on,
how
that's
about, what about now? Does it still hear?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
You can hear us. We might just need to crack on with the echo.
Yeah, just a little bit of echo.
Okay, good. So, yes, we're going to talk about Hogan and engagement, and as I said, a little bit about how we got to where we are now. Thanks, Lily. So this is pure hyperbole, but tells you a little bit about the environment that we walked into when Lily and I joined Legal in General in 2023. There was lots of change going on in the organization, so that's point number one, like trying to establish a new assessment function. You sorted it?
It's all good, man.
Yeah?
Continue.
Okay.
It's lovely.
Trying to establish an assessment function which was brand new to LNG. They'd never had OXIKes before. They didn't know much about assessment. So it was a tough crowd. And the other thing that I think this highlights is the level from which we were starting. It was very low. It was very foundational. It was all about building from the bottom up. Can everyone hear us okay?
Just we're currently trying to sort out the slides.
Okay.
Anyways, continue.
Okay. I needed to go on to the next slide.
People can use their imagination and dial up the robots.
Yeah. So all of this chaos, all of this mess, as you can, carrying on with the Big Five theme, I'm very high conscientious. You can probably tell because I've got talking cards. So trying to create some clarity out of all of that mess was very difficult. We went back to 3 key principles, which aren't on the slides, so that's fine. I can talk through them. But those principles were that everything that we do in assessment has to be connected to our behaviours, has to reinforce our strategic goals. That's number 1. Everything that we do in assessment has to align to our employee life cycle. So I don't want reports that get put in drawers and never looked at again. We wanted to really bring psychometric insights to life and help people use them for onboarding, for development, for succession, all of that good stuff. I'm going to need the next slide in a second, but I can keep going. And the third one was that we want to be able to take a step back and look at the organizational insights from our assessments and look at themes and look at trends and understand what's going on. And we did that by looking at just all of the psychometric data that existed in LNG to date. It was quite messy. We had about 6 different suppliers. We had hundreds of different data points from different psychometrics, but we could infer some themes from that. And then our Hogan versus engagement study was born. And a little bit on where we are now. I mean, I'm sure many of you here will have enjoyed Celebrity Traitors recently. This is an analogy for a big happy family, which isn't quite what we are, but we spent the last 2 years establishing the function, working to those 3 principles, and then setting out our roadmap for the years ahead. We okay? Yeah?
We're good. We're kind of trying to sync up the online and in-person experience right now. Bear with us.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's the COEs. We made Claudia the COEs, so that's talent management and DEI and stuff like that. So Hogan existed in the organization. It was one of the kind of more frequently used tools, and I'm a very pragmatic person. Oh, into the mic, thanks, mate. I'm a very pragmatic person, so I thought, well, let's just continue using that. I mean, that makes sense. Sorry, PCL, we do use APS, but would love to have a conversation afterwards. And that was really a springboard for a lot of work. So we were able to create a really consistent data set over the last 2 years. We had 400 of our the leaders at the top of the organization, -1, -2, go through it. And that's really given us an amazing platform for this kind of work moving forwards. The Hogan and engagement study was 1 born out of that, and 2 born out of a good relationship we had with our people analytics team. As you know, in big organizations, it's quite difficult to find the right teams to collaborate with and get on their roadmap. Fortunately for us, our head of leadership development had just finished a study with them based on our new flagship leadership development program, which looked at the relationships between participants going on the program, participants who didn't go on the program, so participants who went on it before and after, and engagement in their teams, and they found some really interesting results, all positive. So the program was having an impact on engagement, and they tracked engagement through the levels, and it was really impressive stuff, and we thought we want to do something like that, so let us at it. And that's where the study came from. So Lily's now going to talk you through the study, the methodology, and I'll tell you a little bit later what we found later on.
Thank you. So this piece of work basically started with a really simple question, and it's what do our people need from their leaders to have really great experiences and outcomes at work. So to explore that, in September 2024, we looked at the link between leaders' Hogan traits and their team survey responses. So in other words, how do our leaders' natural tendencies shape how our teams feel and perform? So we partnered, like Dan said, with the people analytics team who managed the annual survey questions. And we began by really helping them understand the value of Hogan, how it works, as it was still relatively new to the business. And then through that knowledge sharing and relationship building, we were really able to demonstrate how Hogan could add value. So we analysed data from 264 leaders and over 400 direct reports. So we matched each of their leaders' Hogan results to their team outcome scores. And overall, we looked at relationships across all Hogan traits on 40 outcome variables. And we did quite a basic methodology. We started with a correlation analysis just to spot patterns. And then to dig a bit deeper, we ran a regression analysis, which helps identify which traits genuinely contribute to those outcomes to understand statistical significance. And there were 6 key traits that we found a significant relationship with, which Dan's going to speak about in a second. And then finally, interpretation, which was basically like our business is really new to Hogan, so we're quite mindful about how we interpret and communicate these results. To ensure a best practice approach, we focused our interpretation through the lens of observable actions and behaviours, so highlighting traits rather than just what high or low, but the insights that were practical and relevant for the business. And I don't know if APS is here, but Melvin was so much help with this, and we worked with him really closely, so thank you, Melvin, if you are online or here. Yeah, so that's a bit of a quick whistle-stop tour of everything that we did. And I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So we wanted to have a little bit of fun before we showed you our results. So please shout out which Hogan scales you think may positively or negatively impact these outcomes. I can give you my mic.
Go on, go for it.
I thought it was just 2 and 5 would be the ones I would imagine would be most linked to. Is it the HPI or the HDS you're using? Both, yes. Well, my guess is those 2. It's probably a trick question. It's probably all 5, but those are things.
No comment on the trick question. Any other thoughts? Yeah. Thank you. Any others? I assume you mean leisurely and skeptical negatively impacting psychological
The
safety.
MVPI as well. So you might be looking at security, perhaps, on intent to stay.
Yeah, good one.
Oh, which one was that? How optimistic of you after the technical trouble we had earlier.
Okay, good.
Oh, 1 second, Grace.
One more. Yeah, go for it.
Elevator music. Oh, well, I'm not sure you can throw it up to Switzerland.
I think collaboration would be affiliation and sociability.
Yeah, nice. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Okay, good.
Should we have a drum roll?
Put you out of your misery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Too fast. So here are our findings. I'll let you read through them, and as you do, I'm gonna overlay them with a little bit of narrative. So we found statistically significant links between 6 scales and a number of engagement questions and outcomes. I think what was really pleasing was that when we aligned the research that Melvin kindly shared. So there's lots of insights from Hogan and APS and the other organizations they work with. This all made sense, which was great. So it kind of supports what we know is out there, what we know is important for leaders to do. As Lily mentioned, we thought it was really important that we don't articulate these in terms of Hogan scales. We don't want people to think, oh, well, I need to be high prudence, which is number one. I need to be structured. And it's more about what's the behavior? What does that look like? And then whether you're high or low on prudence, you can think about how you might implement that in your teams and what behavior change you might want to make. I think, again, as well, just in terms of the maturity of legal in general, that made a lot of sense to our leaders. So we've got structured, detail-oriented, dependable decision makers, and quite significant jumps as well. So by up to 29 points in a difference in engagement. Empathy and a focus on relationships. Optimistic and resilient leaders foster trust, role, clarity, inclusion, and innovation. Focusing too much on praise and visibility. What scale do people think that is? Yeah. Oh, speak up a little bit more. Into the mic. Okay, good. I'd be a terrible pop star. Lack of execution focus. What do people think that is? Go for it.
1 second.
Yeah. What did you say? Inquisitive. Yeah, high inquisitive. And prioritizing design over practicality, which is a really interesting one. Aesthetics. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we made this into something really digestible for people. I guess the other thing we were very conscious of was this kind of getting out into the organization in the wrong way. So we were very thoughtful, very purposeful about how we share this and who we collaborate with. But it did end up contributing to a lot of different pieces of work, and here they are. I know some of you can't see the bottom left, so that's the launch of our org-wide behaviours. So we use these Hogan results to help shape both the kind of form and the content of our behaviours, because we were in the middle of a refresh. So it was great to have some sort of scientific grounding to support that. I worked with our leadership development head on the design of the new people curriculum to bring those behaviours to life. So that, again, there was a bit of more of a scientific founding than we would have had otherwise. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I guess one of the best things for us is just seeing that investment in culture, and via assessment and analytics. And I don't know if they're online, but I've got to give a massive shout out to our people analytics team, Andy Johnson and Andres Garcia Ayala. You might see them at different conferences, and they were just incredible. They also own SPSS at LNG, so we had to work closely with them for the study, but we're really thankful for their support and collaboration. And then on the next slide, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what's coming next. So the strategy at LNG now is all about consolidation of that assessment portfolio. So I want to get rid of all the various different suppliers we've got in different divisions and have one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. And that's partly due to where we are with contracts, but I like the simplicity of it. We are, I guess with that, we're launching new products. So we're onboarding a new supplier at the moment and look forward to doing more studies and increasing, as I say, across selection and development, quality of hire and embedding our new behaviours. And we've just finished our latest iteration of the Hogan, we call our engagement survey voice. Lily, do you want to say a few words about the latest iteration of it?
Thank you very much. So we saw some differences this year compared to last year. We had a larger sample size, so 1,000 voice data points and 400 plus Hogan profiles. And last year, whilst we saw 33 significant relationships, this year there were 85 statistically significant relationships, which is really interesting. And we also saw a shift in preferences and what our people want from their leaders. So previously we saw kind of calm, even-tempered, interpersonally sensitive leaders. But this year we saw direct, confident, social and disruptive leaders were actually what our people were wanting. But across both years, we've seen a preference for very practical, data-led leadership. And the way that we're making sense of this is that our current context, as Dan has touched on, is we're going through organizational change. We've just gone through reorganization and we're kicking off new plans. So there's a lot going on at the moment, and it's likely that our people are really, and what we're hearing, our people are wanting clarity, directness, and communication, which very much aligns with what we've seen. Yeah, I think that's everything on this year's.
Thanks, Lily. I think just to build on that, it makes sense to us that before we kicked off the change, and when we were going through the uncertainty and the ambiguity of the early stages of change, our people wanted our leaders to be empathetic. And now that we're in the change and clarity and direction is needed, there's a different set of traits. And I think that that's very reflective of the cycles of organizations, and it's very helpful to understand what our people need. That's everything. Yeah. Yeah, great. They're geeks just like us.
We can't hear you online again, Nikita. Looks like you're talking, but we can't hear anything.
Yes. So we saw some interesting things. We saw quite a lot of things actually. Get my right page up. So sorry if you guys can't hear me for 1 sec. But we saw a lot of correlations. So the ones that were statistically significant at p.001, there was like, sorry, just thought I'd add it in. It was very much like role clarity, well-being, performance management, and manager support, and that was across quite a few different ones. So adjustment, interpersonal sensitivity, a few other ones. So they were kind of our key ones that were coming out at 0.001 in terms of outcomes. Yeah. Good question, and I will come back to you on that.
We prepared lots of limitations to our study, but yeah, I mean, it was, I wouldn't say it was quick and dirty, but we weren't able to look at high, average, low scores of Hogan versus high and low engagement scores. Because of time and resource, we looked at high versus high, and that's all we've got. This year's study looks at high versus low, so we've got a little bit more kind of nuance to the study, and again, I think for us it was just about kind of building momentum and establishing a bit of credibility with the results, and now we can do more interesting and more in-depth analysis. Yeah. So no, yeah. Well, and the fact that the traits have changed actually doesn't bother us too much. And the reason for that is that adaptability and self-awareness sit at the heart of our leadership development framework. So we worked with Russell Reynolds and the framework that we've embedded in L&G, which is all about leaders demonstrating range in their behavior as opposed to bringing one particular style. So we see this as quite a nice representation of the range that leaders need to demonstrate on a daily basis, ranging from empathy to directness. Our framework speaks about pragmatism through to disruption, empathy through to directness, risk-taking through to cautious, and we want our leaders to do all of those things. but understand the context in which they need to do it. So how do I adapt my behavior based on what I'm reading is going on around me? Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So can we give a round of applause for one?
Thank you.